The elevator doors slid open on the 47th floor of the Manhattan Tower, and Finn froze mid-step, his briefcase slipping from his fingers as Levi turned from the floor-to-ceiling windows, his dark eyes locking onto Finn's with a raw honesty that stripped away every defense. In that single heartbeat, the carefully constructed life Finn had built for 15 years as the respected CEO of ValorTech, his wife Emily waiting at their Westchester home, and their 2 children laughing in the backyard cracked wide open, forcing him to confront the truth he had buried since college. Finn cleared his throat, forcing a professional smile that felt like shattered glass in his mouth. "Levi, you stayed late again. The Tokyo projections were flawless today." His voice sounded steady to his own ears, but inside his pulse hammered like it had the first time their hands brushed during that late-night strategy session 3 months ago. Levi was 28, sharp, ambitious, and everything Finn had convinced himself he could never want. Levi stepped closer, the city lights painting gold across his sharp jawline. "I couldn't leave without making sure you saw the final numbers, sir. But honestly, I stayed because I knew you'd still be here." There was no mistaking the double meaning in those words, and Finn felt heat rise up his neck, the kind of heat that had nothing to do with the thermostat and everything to do with the way Levi looked at him, like he saw straight through the wedding ring Finn twisted nervously on his finger. They had started as mentor and protege, Levi fresh from Stanford with ideas that revitalized the marketing division, Finn the seasoned leader steering a billion-dollar tech empire. Late meetings turned into shared coffees, then quiet confessions over whiskey about dreams and disappointments. Finn had told himself it was just admiration, professional respect, until the night Levi admitted he had never felt truly seen by anyone until Finn. That confession had lodged in Finn's chest like a live wire, and he had walked away pretending it meant nothing. Now, standing in the empty office with the hum of the city below, Finn could no longer pretend. "Levi, this can't happen. I have a family. A life." The words came out hoarse, but Levi only smiled softly, the kind of smile that made Finn's resolve waver. "I know. And I know what it costs you to say that. But tell me, Finn, when was the last time you felt alive, not just successful?" Levi's voice was gentle, no pressure, only an invitation, and Finn found himself stepping forward instead of back, his hand reaching out, almost brushing Levi's sleeve before he caught himself. The phone on Finn's desk buzzed, breaking the moment, Emily's name flashing on the screen. He answered quickly, his voice shifting into the familiar husband tone. "Hey honey, the kids okay? I'll be home soon." When he hung up, the guilt crashed over him heavier than ever. Emily trusted him completely, their marriage built on the foundation of stability and tradition her parents had always praised. How could he explain that the man he had become on paper was slowly suffocating the man he truly was? Levi watched him silently, then gathered his files. "I'll head out. But Finn, if you ever need to talk, no judgment, I'm here." He left, the door clicking shut behind him, and Finn sank into his chair, staring at the city lights, wondering how long he could keep pretending. The next morning, the board meeting went smoothly, investors praising the latest quarterly results, but Finn barely heard a word, his mind replaying Levi's question over and over. Alive? When had he last felt that? By afternoon, Finn found himself in the company gym, needing to burn off the restlessness. Levi was already there, running on the treadmill, sweat glistening on his toned arms, and Finn forced his eyes away, focusing on the weights instead. Their conversation from the night before hung between them, unspoken yet electric. When Levi finished and wiped his face with a towel, he nodded at Finn. "Care to spar around? Helps clear the head." Finn agreed against his better judgment, and soon they were circling each other on the mat, light, playful jabs turning serious as Finn pinned Levi briefly, their faces inches apart, breathing hard. The contact sent a jolt through Finn, stronger than any boardroom victory, and he released Levi quickly, standing up too fast. "Good match." Levi's eyes held his a fraction longer than necessary. "Yeah. Real good." That night, Finn drove home to Westchester, the suburban streets blurring as he gripped the wheel. Emily greeted him with a kiss, the kids rushing for hugs, and he smiled through dinner, telling stories about the Tokyo deal, all while feeling like an imposter in his own home. Later in bed, Emily curled against him, whispering about their upcoming anniversary trip, and Finn stared at the ceiling, Levi's words echoing. The following week, tension built slowly. A team lunch where Levi sat across from him, their knees brushing under the table, sent Finn's thoughts spiraling. Then came the late project deadline, forcing another night in the office, just the two of them ordering takeout and talking about everything except the growing pull between them. Levi shared stories of his own struggles coming out in college, losing friends but finding strength, and Finn listened mesmerized by the courage he lacked. When Levi asked quietly, "Have you ever wondered what life would look like if you stopped hiding?" Finn didn't answer, but the question followed him home like a shadow. Emily noticed his distraction, asking if work was too much, and Finn lied, saying yes, it's just stress. His best friend Marcus from college called checking in, and Finn almost confessed but stopped himself. Marcus was straight traditional, the kind of guy who would never understand. The pressure mounted inside Finn like a storm gathering, the fear of losing everything clashing with the undeniable truth that Levi made him feel seen for the first time in years. By the end of the week, Finn found himself driving aimlessly after another long day, stopping at a quiet overlook outside the city, staring at the lights. His phone buzzed, a text from Levi, simple and honest, "Thinking about you. No pressure, just wanted you to know." Finn read it 3 times, his thumb hovering over the reply button before he typed back, "Me too." The admission felt like jumping off a cliff, and as he drove home, the weight of what he had just done settled heavy in his chest. The journey had begun, and there was no turning back. The next morning, Finn arrived at the office early, hoping the routine would steady him, but the text from Levi still burned in his mind like an open flame. He buried himself in emails and conference calls, yet every pause brought back the image of Levi's face under the gym lights, the easy strength that made Finn question every choice he had ever made. When Levi walked into the 10 a.m. marketing briefing, their eyes met across the conference table, and Finn felt the air shift, the professional mask he wore cracking just a little. Levi presented the new campaign with his usual brilliance, charts and data flowing seamlessly, but Finn noticed the subtle way Levi glanced at him, seeking approval that went beyond work. After the meeting, Levi lingered, handing Finn a printed summary, their fingers brushing, and the contact lingered a second too long. "Any feedback, sir?" Levi asked, voice low enough that only Finn heard. Finn swallowed. "It's solid." "You're solid, Levi." The words carried more weight than either intended, and Levi smiled, that knowing smile, before stepping away. Lunch brought an unexpected complication when Emily called, reminding Finn about the charity gala that weekend, the one where Valortech was the main sponsor and Finn the face of the company. "Wear the navy suit, the one I picked out," she teased, and Finn agreed, forcing enthusiasm while imagining Levi in a tuxedo across the crowded ballroom. The thought terrified and thrilled him in equal measure. That afternoon, a rival executive from a competing firm cornered Finn in the hallway, dropping hints about personal distractions affecting leadership, and Finn wondered if rumors had already started. By evening, Finn couldn't avoid the pull any longer. He texted Levi asking if he wanted to grab a drink to discuss the gala logistics, a flimsy excuse, and Levi replied instantly, suggesting a quiet bar downtown away from the usual corporate spots. They met at a dimly lit place with jazz playing softly in the background, and over craft beer, Levi opened up about his family back in California, how his parents had struggled with his identity at first but eventually accepted him. Finn listened mesmerized, sharing fragments of his own upbringing in a strict Midwest household where emotions were kept private and success was the only measure of a man. As the night deepened, Levi leaned forward. "You don't have to carry this alone, Finn. Whatever this is between us, it's real, and it's okay to feel it." Finn's hand tightened around his glass, the wedding ring catching the light like a warning. He wanted to argue, to push back, but the sincerity in Levi's eyes disarmed him. Instead, he admitted quietly, "I haven't felt this way in years. Maybe ever." The confession hung between them, heavy with possibility, and when they parted outside the bar, Levi touched Finn's arm briefly, a gesture full of promise and restraint. The gala arrived faster than Finn expected, the grand ballroom of the Plaza Hotel glittering with crystal chandeliers and influential guests. Emily looked elegant on his arm, their children safe at home with a sitter, and Finn played the perfect husband, smiling for cameras and shaking hands with board members. Then Levi entered, looking devastating in a tailored black tuxedo, and Finn's carefully maintained composure slipped. Their eyes locked across the room, and for a moment the crowd faded, leaving only the magnetic pull Finn had been fighting. During the silent auction, Levi approached under the guise of discussing business, but his words were personal. "You look like you belong here, but I see the weight you're carrying." Finn glanced at Emily across the room chatting with donors and felt the familiar guilt twist in his gut. Later, as the band played a slow song, Levi pulled him aside near the terrace. "Dance with me, Finn. Just one dance where no one knows." Finn refused at first, but the temptation won, and they slipped onto the edge of the dance floor, bodies close but not touching, the music wrapping around them like a secret. Emily noticed nothing, absorbed in conversations, but Marcus, who had flown in for the event, caught Finn's distracted gaze, and later pulled him aside. "Everything okay, man? You seem off." Finn brushed it off, blaming work, but Marcus's concerned look lingered. The evening ended with toasts and applause, Valortech raising millions, but Finn's mind raced with the nearness of Levi, the almost touch that promised so much more. Driving home with Emily, he held her hand, the guilt now a constant companion. The following week, the tension escalated when a major investor meeting required Finn and Levi to travel to Chicago together. The hotel rooms were booked on separate floors, but late one night after a successful pitch, Levi knocked on Finn's door with room service and a bottle of wine. They talked for hours about dreams and fears, Levi sharing how he had once walked away from a relationship to protect his career, and Finn revealing the pressure of being the family provider, the only son expected to carry on the legacy. When Levi reached across the table, their hands finally intertwined. Finn didn't pull away, the warmth chasing away years of isolation. Back in New York, the secret meetings became more frequent, stolen moments in the office after hours or quiet drives outside the city. Finn felt alive in a way he hadn't since his youth, yet the lies multiplied. Emily sensed the distance, asking gentle questions about his late nights, and Finn deflected with work excuses, all while his heart split in two. Marcus texted more often, checking in, and Finn wondered how long before his best friend pieced it together. Then came the first real misunderstanding. A colleague spotted Levi leaving Finn's office late and joked about special treatment in the break room, the comment reaching Emily through a mutual friend. She confronted Finn that night, voice trembling. "Is there someone else?" Finn denied it vehemently, but the hurt in her eyes cut deep, and he spent the night on the couch staring at the ceiling, replaying every choice. Levi noticed the change the next day at work, pulling Finn aside. "Whatever happened, we can face it together." But Finn pulled back, afraid, the walls closing in. The psychological toll mounted, Finn snapping at his assistant over small errors and avoiding board meetings where his focus wavered. Levi remained patient, yet the distance Finn created stung, and during one heated argument in the parking garage, Levi said quietly, "I love you, Finn, but I won't be your secret forever." The words landed like a punch, and Finn drove away, tears blurring the road, realizing the cost of his fear was pushing away the one person who truly saw him. As weeks turned into a delicate balance of longing and guilt, Finn knew the breaking point was coming. The truth he had hidden for so long demanded to be seen, and the man he was becoming could no longer hide in the shadows of his old life. The argument in the parking garage lingered like smoke, Finn replaying Levi's words every quiet moment at home or in the boardroom. "I love you, Finn, but I won't be your secret forever." Those words echoed during family dinner when his son asked why Dad seemed sad, and Finn forced a laugh, blaming a tough quarter. Emily watched him closely, her concern deepening into something sharper, and Finn felt the foundation of his marriage shifting under the weight of unspoken truths. Work offered no escape either. A rival board member began asking pointed questions about Finn's close collaboration with Levi during strategy sessions, and whispers spread through the executive floor like wildfire. Finn's loyal assistant warned him quietly, "People are talking, sir. Be careful." The pressure built until Finn found himself in his office at midnight, staring at a photo of Levi on his phone, the image capturing the younger man's easy smile and the way his eyes crinkled when he laughed. Levi waited patiently, sending occasional texts, checking in without pushing, and when Finn finally agreed to meet at their usual overlook outside the city, the conversation turned raw. Levi spoke of his own past, the betrayal of a college boyfriend who outed him to his conservative family, and how he had rebuilt himself stronger. Finn listened, then confessed the fear that gripped him, the image of losing his children, the company he had poured his life into, and the respect of everyone who saw him as the perfect provider. Levi reached for his hand. "You're not losing me by being honest, Finn. You're gaining yourself." That night they shared their first real kiss under the stars, tentative and full of years of longing, and when Finn pulled back breathless, he knew nothing would ever be the same. The drive home was a blur of emotions, joy, terror, and the crushing weight of what came next. Emily was waiting up when he arrived, her face pale. "You weren't at the office. Where were you?" The lie came easily but tasted like ash, and Finn retreated to his study, wondering how many more he could tell before everything collapsed. The misunderstanding escalated the next day when Emily received an anonymous email with a blurry photo of Finn and Levi at the overlook, the message simply reading, "Ask your husband." She confronted him in the kitchen, voice breaking. "Who is he, Finn? Is this why you've been so distant?" Finn denied it, at first, panic rising, but the evidence stared back at him, and he finally admitted there was someone, but stopped short of the full truth. Emily demanded space, packing a bag for her sisters and leaving Finn alone with the children, who sensed the tension. At work, the secret began to unravel further when a jealous colleague leaked rumors to a business journalist, and Finn received a call from the board chairman demanding an emergency meeting. Levi stood by him through the chaos, offering quiet support in the hallway. "Whatever happens, I'm with you." But Finn pushed him away again, afraid the association would destroy Levi's rising career. The betrayal came from an unexpected place. Marcus, his best friend, who had pieced together the pieces from overheard conversations, and confronted Finn in a bar. "You're risking everything for a guy. Think of your kids, man." The word stung because Marcus meant well, but his traditional views highlighted the societal wall Finn had always feared. Finn's family expectations loomed larger when his conservative parents called from Illinois, reminding him of the values they instilled, the importance of marriage and legacy. He listened silently, the phone heavy in his hand, realizing how deeply the fear of disappointing them ran. Levi noticed the withdrawal and during a private lunch meeting challenged him. "You can't keep sacrificing who you are for everyone else, Finn. It will break you." The conversation ended in silence but planted seeds of doubt in Finn's mind about the cost of continued hiding. The major turning point arrived unexpectedly during a company retreat in the Hamptons. The entire executive team gathered for team building, and Levi was there as key presenter. One evening after a successful day of workshops, Finn and Levi found themselves alone on the beach, the waves crashing as Levi turned to him. "I can't keep doing this half-life, Finn. I love you enough to walk away if that's what you need." The honesty shattered Finn's remaining defenses, and he pulled Levi into an embrace, the kiss fierce and desperate under the moonlight. In that moment, Finn made a decision. He would come out to Emily first, then face the board. No more secrets. But fate intervened when another executive stumbled upon them, returning from a walk, the shock on his face clear as day. The rumor mill exploded overnight, and by morning the board demanded answers. Finn returned to the city, heart pounding, knowing the confrontation he had dreaded was now inevitable. Emily called, demanding he come home immediately, her voice cold with betrayal, and Finn drove through the night rehearsing words that felt inadequate. Arriving home, he found Emily waiting with divorce papers already drawn up by her lawyer, the children asleep upstairs unaware. "I trusted you, Finn. How could you do this to us?" The pain in her eyes mirrored his own, and Finn finally told the full truth: his identity, the love for Levi, the years of denial. Emily listened, tears falling, then asked the question that cut deepest. "Did you ever really love me?" Finn's answer, honest and broken, "Yes, but I was never fully myself." The conversation stretched into the early hours, ending with Emily asking for time and space while she processed. Levi waited at Finn's office the next morning, worry etched on his face, and when Finn recounted the night, Levi offered to step back from the company to protect Finn's position. The sacrifice touched Finn deeply, yet he refused. "We face this together or not at all." The decision strengthened their bond, but the company fallout loomed, large investors pulling calls and stock prices dipping on speculation. Finn stood at the window overlooking Manhattan, realizing the path ahead would test every part of him, but for the first time he felt ready to walk it. The board meeting was scheduled for Friday, and the days leading up to it blurred into a storm of damage control. Finn spent hours on calls reassuring major investors, while Levi worked tirelessly behind the scenes revising campaign strategies to prove the company's strength remained unchanged. Their relationship deepened in the quiet moments, stolen lunches where Levi listened without judgment, and Finn finally voiced the fears he had carried alone for decades, the terror of being seen as weak or unfit in a world that still whispered about men like him. Levi shared his own scars, the family holidays where acceptance felt conditional, and the strength he found in choosing authenticity. Emily returned home briefly to collect more things, the children staying with her sister, and the conversation that followed was raw and necessary. She asked about Levi, wanting to understand how their marriage had reached this point, and Finn answered every question honestly. The love he once felt for her, the confusion that grew over years the moment Levi entered his life and made everything clear. Emily cried but also admitted seeing signs she had ignored, and in the end she said, "I want you to be happy, Finn, even if it's not with me." The grace in her words gave Finn the courage he needed for the board. Marcus reached out again, this time apologetic after reflecting on their friendship. "I was wrong to judge man. If he's good for you, that's what matters." The reconciliation with his best friend lifted a weight, and Finn realized true loyalty could evolve even when worldviews clashed. The company rumors intensified, a tabloid article hinting at executive impropriety, and Finn's phone rang non-stop with reporters. Levi suggested they prepare a statement together, but Finn insisted on handling the board first, protecting Levi from the spotlight as long as possible. The morning of the meeting, Finn stood in front of the mirror adjusting his tie, the same navy one Emily had chosen years ago, and for the first time he saw not the imposter but the man he was becoming. Levi waited in the lobby, coffee in hand. "You've got this. No matter what, remember who you are." Their brief hug in the elevator carried the strength Finn needed as doors opened to the conference room filled with stern faces and skeptical eyes. The chairman began without preamble, "Finn, we've heard troubling rumors. Care to address them?" Finn took a deep breath and spoke the truth, his voice steady, as he described his marriage, the struggles with identity, the genuine love he had found with Levi, and his commitment to lead Valortech with integrity, regardless of personal life. The room fell silent, then erupted in questions, some supportive, others hostile, about company image and investor confidence. Finn answered each one calmly, emphasizing that his private life would not affect performance and offering to step aside temporarily if the board deemed it necessary. Levi waited outside, the tension visible in his posture, when Finn emerged hours later, exhausted but unburdened. The board voted to retain Finn with conditions, a public statement and media training, but the real victory was internal, the freedom of no longer hiding. That evening Finn and Levi drove to the same overlook where their first kiss happened, and under the stars Finn whispered, "I choose us. All of us." Levi's response was a kiss full of promise, and they talked late into the night, planning a future where Finn co-parented with Emily and Levi stood openly by his side. Yet challenges remained. Finn's parents flew in for an emergency visit, their faces etched with confusion and disappointment as he explained everything. His father struggled most, the traditional values clashing with acceptance, but his mother surprised him with quiet support. "We just want you safe and happy, son." The family conversation stretched over days, filled with tears and tentative understanding, marking another step in Finn's growth. Emily filed for divorce, amicably agreeing to shared custody, and the children slowly adjusted with therapy helping them process the changes. At work, the stock stabilized after Finn's transparent interview with a major business network where he spoke about mental health and authenticity in leadership. Investors responded positively, some even praising the courage, and Levi's promotion to senior vice president solidified his place in the company. The misunderstanding that had nearly destroyed them, the anonymous email, turned out to be from a disgruntled former employee seeking revenge, and the truth emerging cleared the air, further strengthening Finn and Levi's bond. Sacrifice came when Levi offered to transfer to the West Coast office to ease board concerns, but Finn refused. "We build this together here." Their decision to face the world united became the foundation for deeper trust. As months passed, Finn found himself attending Pride events quietly at first, then openly with Levi by his side, the experience liberating in ways he never imagined. The journey of identity was far from over, but each step forward brought clarity and peace. One evening in their new apartment overlooking the river, Finn turned to Levi. "Thank you for waiting for me to find myself." Levi smiled, pulling him close. "We found each other, Finn. That's what matters." The moment was simple yet profound, the kind of love that had survived fire and emerged stronger. Yet Finn knew societal pressures would continue, whispers in boardrooms and family gatherings, but with Levi's hand in his, he felt equipped to face them all. The public statement Finn released sent ripples through the industry, some outlets praising his courage, while others questioned his leadership fitness. Levi stood beside him at the press conference, hand resting lightly on Finn's shoulder in a show of quiet solidarity, and the image captured headlines the next day. CO comes out stronger than ever. The support from employees poured in, emails and cards filling Finn's inbox with stories of their own journeys, and for the first time Finn felt the weight of representation lifting him rather than crushing him. Emily and the children adapted with remarkable grace, weekend visits becoming less awkward as Finn introduced Levi gradually, the kids warming to his easy humor and genuine interest in their lives. Finn's parents returned home after long talks, his father sending a handwritten letter months later admitting, "It took time, but I see the man you are now and I'm proud." The acceptance, though imperfect, healed old wounds, and Finn realized family love could expand beyond traditional molds. Marcus became a steady ally, joining them for barbecues and even bringing his wife to meet Levi, the four of them laughing over shared stories of college antics. The friendship that could have shattered instead deepened, proving loyalty could bridge differences. At Valortech, the turning point solidified when a major merger deal closed successfully under Finn's leadership, the board publicly commending his transparency, and the stock soared, erasing earlier dips. Levi's contributions shone brighter than ever, his innovative campaigns earning industry awards, and the couple celebrated quietly at home, toasting to resilience. Yet new conflicts tested them when Levi's estranged brother reached out, demanding a family reunion and revealing old resentments about Levi's choices. Finn supported him through the emotional calls, watching Levi confront his past with courage that inspired Finn to do the same with lingering corporate skeptics. A board member resigned in protest, citing values, but was replaced by a progressive investor who championed diversity initiatives Finn had quietly championed. The betrayal from the anonymous emailer was resolved in court, the former employee facing charges, and the closure brought final peace. Climax built during the annual shareholder meeting when a conservative investor challenged Finn directly on stage, microphone in hand. "How can we trust a leader who hid such a fundamental truth?" The room hushed, cameras rolling, and Finn stepped forward, heart pounding but voice clear. "I hid because I feared exactly this moment, but hiding nearly cost me everything I love. Today I stand here honest, stronger, and fully myself. My personal truth doesn't diminish my ability to lead, it enhances it, because I now lead with integrity." The applause that followed, genuine and widespread, washed over Finn like validation he had waited a lifetime for. Levi waited backstage, eyes shining with pride, and they embraced the moment, marking the emotional peak of their shared journey. Afterward, in the quiet of their apartment, Finn reflected on the sacrifices, the late nights, the tears, the courage required to dismantle the life he once knew. Levi listened, then shared his own growth, admitting how loving Finn had taught him patience and the beauty of building something real together. Their conversation stretched late, the honesty healing old scars and solidifying the bond that had survived every test. The next morning, Finn woke to sunlight streaming through the windows, Levi still asleep beside him, and for the first time the future felt bright, unburdened by secrets. The societal pressures continued, subtle comments at industry events or family gatherings, but Finn and Levi faced them united, attending events together, supporting LGBTQ causes and mentoring young executives struggling with identity. Finn's children thrived in the new normal, asking honest questions and receiving age-appropriate answers that fostered understanding. Emily found her own happiness dating again, and the co-parenting arrangement blossomed into respectful friendship. Marcus even joked during one gathering, "You two make the rest of us look bad with all that real love." As the year drew to a close, Finn stood on the same balcony where their story began, the city lights twinkling below, and Levi joined him, wrapping arms around his waist. "We made it," Levi whispered, and Finn turned, kissing him softly, the gesture full of gratitude and promise. The journey had been painful, transformative, and ultimately liberating, teaching Finn that true acceptance began within and rippled outward, touching every relationship in his life. The man who once feared losing everything had gained a life richer than any boardroom victory. The new year brought fresh beginnings for Finn and Levi as they moved into a spacious brownstone in Brooklyn, blending Finn's classic style with Levi's modern touches, the space quickly filling with laughter from weekend visits with the children. Finn's role at Valortech evolved into something more purposeful, launching an internal diversity program that empowered employees to bring their whole selves to work, and the initiative earned national recognition, boosting company morale and profits. Levi thrived in his senior position, their professional partnership now openly celebrated rather than whispered about, and together they mentored a new generation of leaders navigating similar paths. Family gatherings became warmer. Finn's parents visiting more often, his father even attending a pride parade tentatively at first, then proudly wearing a supportive pin. Emily joined them for holidays, the blended family dynamic surprising everyone with its harmony, the children benefiting from the stability and love surrounding them. Marcus and his wife became regular fixtures, barbecues turning into deep conversations about life, love, and growth, the friendships proving that acceptance could transform even the most traditional circles. Challenges still arose, a tabloid attempt to dredge up old rumors quickly dismissed by Finn's calm public response and Levi's unwavering support. The experience reinforced their resilience, teaching them that external noise faded when internal truth remained strong. Finn found himself reflecting often on the psychological toll of his former secrecy, the anxiety that had once kept him awake now replaced by a profound sense of peace. Levi noticed the change, commenting one quiet evening, "You carry yourself differently now, lighter." Finn smiled, pulling him close, "Because I finally stopped running from myself." Their love story inspired subtle changes beyond their circle. Finn's TED-style talk at a leadership conference resonating with thousands, the video going viral and sparking conversations about authenticity in corporate America. Levi stood proudly in the audience later, joking that Finn had become an accidental activist, but both knew the impact ran deeper, touching lives they would never meet. The journey of identity, complete yet ongoing, had taught Finn that growth came from facing fears head-on, making decisions with courage, and accepting the consequences with grace. As spring bloomed, they took a weekend trip to the Hamptons, returning to the beach, where their turning point had occurred, walking hand in hand along the shore, the waves a soothing backdrop to quiet vows of continued commitment. Finn looked at Levi, the man who had patiently waited through every storm, and whispered, "You saved me in more ways than one." Levi's response was simple and heartfelt, "We saved each other, Finn." The moment encapsulated everything. Their story represented love that endured societal judgment, family expectations, and personal doubt, emerging stronger and more authentic. Back in the city, life settled into a beautiful rhythm, work, family, and love intertwining seamlessly, the once impossible balance now their everyday reality. Finn often paused during busy days to appreciate the man he had become, the CEO respected not despite his truth but because of it. Levi's presence grounded him, reminding him daily that vulnerability was strength and honesty the greatest gift. The relationships that had been tested, friendship, family, and romance, all flourished in the light of acceptance, proving that real connection could survive any trial. One evening, as they cooked dinner together, the children laughing in the living room, Finn felt a wave of gratitude so deep it brought tears to his eyes. Levi noticed, pulling him into a gentle embrace. "What are you thinking?" Finn smiled, "That I almost lost everything by hiding but gained the world by being true." They kissed softly, the gesture full of the depth and beauty that had carried them through every challenge. The story of Finn and Levi was no longer hidden but lived openly, a testament to the power of love and the courage to embrace one's true self. True or false? Hiding your authentic self always leads to inevitable destruction, while embracing it guarantees lasting peace and stronger relationships.